Hi everyone, Al the Psych here. I have a quick video for you today. Actually, it's going to be a series, several videos on this topic. And this one is a review of The Hoarder in You. This is by Robin Zazio from 2011. And of course, I had my 2 cents in it. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. One reason a hoarder can live in a super cluttered and in some cases filthy environment is because they become habituated to their environment. They get used to it. They accommodate it. Now, Randy Frost, who studies compulsive hoarding, calls it cluster blindness. Now, sometimes showing a hoarder a picture of their surroundings makes an impact when just looking at it, uh, looking at the environment in vivo doesn't make that impact. It's kind of like kind of stepping away, having a bird's eye view and kind of getting a different perspective. And it's like, oh wow, okay, yeah, maybe there is an issue here. Sometimes that helps. Um, when asked why they can't get rid of an item, a hoarder may say, because if I throw it out, I'll need it in the future, which, everybody kind of thinks that to some degree, I imagine. Or because it would be wasteful to get rid of something that could still be used. Okay, so there's different rationales going on as to why you might hold on to an item. A hoarder, as opposed to a non-hoarder, is unable to take into account important factors like whether or not keeping an item may cause more harm than good. Now, the author notes that anybody may have trouble getting rid of a childhood teddy bear that, gave us comfort when we were young, but the hoarder might attach greater emotional importance to items like that and to a much larger number of things. Sometimes items such as the childhood teddy bear might be given human emotion. For example, what would the teddy bear feel if I threw it out? Okay. Now, a hoarder often may have trouble staying on task and may even have ADHD. In fact, I think there's a good amount of research to back that up, but I'll have to double check on that, and that's a separate issue. There is some research that indicates that people do feel more stressed and more anxious when their house is disorganized or cluttered. Now, I'd have to double check again to see if those are the people that are not hoarders but happen to be living with a hoarder. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense to me. Now, here's an interesting point by the author. She talks about the process of encouraging a patient to practice letting go of valued objects and sitting with the stress and anxiety. It's called exposure, and it's a primary component of treating compulsive hoarding. I will ask a client to rate the amount of anxiety he feels at the thought of giving up an item. And then when he does give up the item, ask him whether he feels as bad as he thought he would. Far more often than not, he finds that his prediction of how much anxiety he'd feel was much worse than he actually felt. And in so doing, he learns that he can handle parting with the things he doesn't need. So that's directly from the author there. Now, and I do know that some therapists will have a client rate their level of anxiety when they first get rid of an item, and then rate their level of anxiety, like say after a week. And typically the anxiety has gone down significantly. So you get rid of something and, okay, I wanted to hold on to that, and you're keyed up. Give it some time, reevaluate after a week, and let's see where that anxiety level is again. It's probably dropped. Now, here's a nice little section from the author that compares and contrasts hoarders from non-hoarders. Everyone has a tough time parting with his or her possessions to some degree. What distinguishes people who hoard from non-hoarders is just how difficult they find it and how many items the person has difficulty parting with. Many uh, non-hoarders, regularly toss unnecessary items, clean out closets, donate or make gifts of things that they no longer have any use for, you know, not engaging in these kinds of cleaning and purging activities often enough to keep your home free of clutter to the point that it makes a storage space or room unusable is a hoarding tendency. Okay. Now, I have one more thing here. It's fine to keep a few items that represent a happy time in your life, but sometimes you have to be selective, especially if you want to keep clutter at bay. And if you're not doing that, it just kind of has this insidious effect to where it just kind of builds up. Okay, so that's going to be the end of part one, and there'll be some other parts that followed about the hoarder in you. Okay, thanks.